Hello and welcome to the Skydival channel, and today let me cover what I think are the best PCs to look at building for the month of May. And I'm happy to announce that I do have some really good updates to all of my builds that are found here on PCBuilds.gg. I've updated quite a few of them, even added one brand new one which we will cover in this video, and I think also cover some part changes in a few of these that I've definitely made in previous build videos, but due to certain price changes, I would consider getting other parts. Also, I have a bunch of these multimedia and productivity PC builds, which are super neat, and I know a lot of you guys have been requesting, but unfortunately, I don't know, only 12,000 of you showed up to that video. Where were you guys? My brothers and sisters in Christ, where were you? I'm not gonna necessarily go into each of these builds in this video, because like I said, that video covers each of these builds, but I'm just letting you know that they're there. If you wanted a PC build that is not just for gaming, but also for content creation, video editing, 3D modeling, or even AI, I have 4 builds like that on PCBuilds.gg, which can be found in the description below if you wanted to check out any of these PCs that I cover in this video. Not PCs, PC build lists. With that said, let's cover that new PC build I was just talking about, which didn't update. Great, I had a new AMD Ryzen based $500 gaming PC. We may have goofed this up. The actual finished build will be on PCBuilds.gg, but this is not the correct one. Okay, so I was actually able to go ahead and display the new $500 gaming PC that I pitched to you guys at the very start of the video. I had to go into the admin page to show you guys. I don't know why this isn't showing up on the website. I'll go ahead and contact my team about that. But this is the cool new build list that I actually didn't necessarily create. Nemistark, who's published a few build lists on PCBuilds.gg so far, actually helped me come up with this list, and he did the work of writing up the descriptions and the text here, so that's really awesome of him. And this build list for 500 bucks, I think is actually pretty smart. And yes, you can still get the Ryzen 5 3600. If you check it right now, which if I click this link, if you look at see all buying options, you can indeed still get a brand new Ryzen 5 3600 from Amazon. And this is a better choice than the Ryzen 5 5500 and 4500 that cost a little bit more than this. So it's still cool to see that you can get a brand new Ryzen 5 3600 from Amazon. I think that's the CPU of choice to get, even though it is an older 3000 series CPU, because again, at the very minimum, it's better than a 4500 and it's better than a 5500. And because of that, we can pair it up with an old school B450 motherboard like this from ASRock, that comes with onboard Wi-Fi, which is nice in this price range. You won't have to spend money on a Wi-Fi card, and that frees up a future PCI Express slot, so that is very nice to have. And they're cheap. But then for the GPU, we want the Intel Arc A580. Now, although the motherboard in this build doesn't support PCI Gen 4.0, it does support resizable bar, which is the #1 thing you want to get the maximum performance out of an Intel Arc graphics card. So that's another good thing in this build. Once again, thanks to the Ryzen 5 3600, because that supports resizable bar, and that's gonna allow us to tap into the full potential of the A580 while losing maybe at most 2 to 3 FPS, just because the B450 board in this build doesn't support PCI Gen 4.0. It only supports 3.0, but it's a very minor FPS loss on the Intel Arc A580. Then for the RAM, cheap 16GB DDR4 memory clocked at 3200 megahertz with a Castlane CO16. That's pretty straightforward. But then for storage, we can't get away with 1 terabyte. We gotta go with 512, and that's just because, like I said earlier, M.2 SSDs have been going up in price. But this kit from Newegg, this King Spec drive, is the least bad you can get, because this doesn't have DRAM, but it is TLC, features fast enough read and write speeds that to where you'll definitely notice it, and it comes with SLC caching, which is not as good as DRAM, but it's something. But for the price, it's gonna be a good value pick for this build. But at some point, you're probably gonna wanna upgrade that to a 1 or 2 terabyte, which you can also find those options on this website, PCBuilds.gg, if you wanna just get right into that versus this. But this case option though is very interesting. But this Okinos Aqua 3 for 60 bucks or 65 for the white looks very intriguing. It's definitely a small case. As you can see, there's no room for any fans here on the side, which you would see in some of these other dual glass PC cases, but it does come with 3 included ARGB fans. which is not that bad. So I think if you were to pair this up with a high quality aftermarket air cooler, this could be a case that you could ride out for a little while, as long as you aren't gonna stuff in a really long graphics card in the future. So I like this case from the looks of it, but I'm definitely gonna have to take a better look at this and maybe actually produce this build list in a future upcoming PC build guide, because I think it's definitely got the workings to be really good for 500 bucks. And yet we're gonna go with the same old trusty MSI Mag AB550N, because this is 50 bucks. Excellent. I have nothing else to say about it. That's just a really good price for that kind of power supply. And yeah, I think I will actually go ahead and produce a build guide on this $500 build list, hopefully sometime this month. Let me show you a build that I have updated though, and that is our $800 gaming PC build, because I've seen the price of this go up throughout the months. I think especially SSD prices, they have been going up. As you can see, the 1TB drive that otherwise would have been about $50 at the time of filming that video is now $73. So in order to combat that, I've changed the GPU choice to the Radeon RX 6650 XT, which, as I covered in my best GPUs of the month video, is the best bang for the buck and all-around graphics card for under $300. And at $220, it's just simply at too good of a price. And especially considering how close it is to the RX 7600 in terms of performance, this for about 40 bucks less, I think is definitely worth it despite being one generation old. Once again, the 7500F is going for an incredible price on AliExpress. I absolutely recommend this processor specifically. I know some of you guys don't like AliExpress, and to that I'll say, so long, have fun, because the rest of us are gonna be probably milking all of these very valuable 7500Fs, because otherwise your next best option is gonna be, I think, a $190 Ryzen 5 7600. Have fun with that. And that extra 30 bucks you save could be used to get a custom CPU cooler if you wanted, rather than using the boring stock AMD Ryzen cooler. Other than that though, everything else in this build list is still the same. Again, the price of the SSD did go up, which is unfortunate, but that's just how it's been lately across the whole industry. Case choice is still the same. Power supply choice, I believe, no, this is okay. You want a semi-modular power supply for one of these cube style PC cases, because that's just nice to have, so you don't have a whole bunch of cables on the rear of this PC right here, which I was very fortunate to have when I was building in this PC case for my $800 PC build. Anyways though, if you haven't caught it yet, I went ahead and updated my $1,000 gaming PC build on this website to what's on my latest actual PC build guide video, which is all centered around the 7500F from AliExpress and the Radeon RX 7700 XT. That is such a fantastic combo for the money, simply because, again, the 7500F is the same as a 7600 just without integrated graphics, but it's gonna cost you about 30 bucks less, which could afford you, a nicer CPU cooler like this, but it's not gonna hold back that 7700 XT in any way. And I found that the performance of that combo was really it's all you need for 1440p. You really don't need anything crazier than that unless you are intentionally trying to max out like a 1440p 240 hertz or 165 hertz monitor on every game you play, which would only matter for competitive games, which are already really easy to run. So again, what's the point? You have to consider that these upper range graphics cards are just simply really fast. They're definitely gonna hold their ground. Everything else is same old, same old. I think the price for this motherboard right now that I use from that build is really nice. The B650S from MSI for just about 150 bucks, comes with Wi-Fi, looks nice and clean. It's gonna hold your 7500F and hold whatever the next 8000 or 9000 series CPU will be. You get 2 extra case fans as well in this build list, which will factor into the final price. And overall, this could be a really cool looking orange and black build thanks to this Vetru K2 case that I chose. Let's see, there's a few other updates I made for some of these other builds. Probably one of those actually being the $650 APU gaming PC, because once again, the 8600G is such an insignificant APU, that it isn't really being considered that much. But if you wanted something that could support a higher end graphics card in the future, but you don't have the money for it, but at the same time you want to stay up to date with the latest Ryzen platform, then you have this build at your disposal, and I had to make a few changes to get it a little bit more price accurate. But this is one of the cheaper builds on the website. But again, that 500 build that I just showed you, I think was really nice for the price. So there's one final update I did do. For the $700 gaming PC build, I had to swap out the graphics card choice to an A580, which fortunately is not going to be hampered by a resizable bar or PCIe Gen 4.0 because that is supported on the A620M motherboard I have chosen for this build. And again, the 7500F can support both of those technologies. But the original RX 6600M choice was just too inconsistent on AliExpress to constantly recommend. So I had to replace it with the Intel Arc A580, which all things considered probably is now a better all-around card under $200 than the 6600M, thanks to some driver updates from Intel, which have been pushing its performance even more at 1080p. So yeah, that was the last change that I made to my website with all these build lists. And again, my apologies for that $500 build and not showing up correctly. We'll get to the bottom of that by the time this video publishes. But again, if you want to check out these multimedia and productivity build lists, I have a full video for that linked in the description below that I already published in the past. So check those out, as well as PCbuilds.gg. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like. That'll help it out. And if you like these kinds of videos and my style, then you should subscribe, because I think you'll like me. So with all of that said, thank you so much for watching. And this is the Skyrival channel, signing out.